Hi guys, my name is Philip and I'm a front-end developer. In today's video, we'll be explaining what pollen data is and how to fetch pollen data in Kotlin. So before we actually start running pollen data in Kotlin in Android Studio and fetching it, let's briefly explain the importance of pollen data in modern weather forecasting. So pollen data is important for public health, helping individuals with allergies anticipate and manage their symptoms much more effectively. Also, environmentally, understanding pollen trends can help monitor plant behaviors as well as ecosystem health, which is important for biodiversity and agricultural planning. Now, let's open the Tomorrow.io documentation under Weather Data Layers, Pollen, and let's take a look at the different types of pollen data fields which we have available. So first of all, we have the tree index, which represents the extent of grains of tree pollen and mold spores coming from trees in a cubic meter of air. So when it comes to pollen data in general, it goes in a value system ranked from 0 to 5, with 0 being no pollen in the air and 5 being a very high level of pollen in the air. So besides the tree index, we also have another important metric such as the grass index, which measures the extent of grains and mold spores coming from grass pollen. Also, we have the weed index, which measures similarly the grains of overall wheat pollen as well as mold spores coming from wheat in a cubic meter of air. There are also other more specific types of pollen data, such as the different types of trees and the different types of wheat, such as ragweed or normal wheat. Now, with that out of the way, let's actually take a look at how to fetch pollen data. So first we need to open the Timelines API under Weather Timelines, Retrieve Timelines, and choose Kotlin as our programming language. Then let's set a location to, for example, Paris. And let's just input the 3 pollen fields which we have chosen here. So the tree index, the grass index, and the wheat index. And then our next step would be to open Android Studio and set up the following code snippet. So as you can see, first of all, we have the main activity class, which sets the UI and calls the weather app to build the user interface, and this is basically where we build our app and where we'll be internally fetching the data. Then we have a weather app function, which is a composable function used to display the weather data. It sets the UI layout and, as you can see, the color scheme and the background, as well as the text which we have from the response. Then we're actually fetching the weather data. So here we have built the body, and here we have the API URL which fetches, and this is where we actually try to fetch and execute the request. In case we have errors, we catch them and we run them here. So as you can see, I already have my emulator running. All I have to do now is to press the green button in the top right corner, which means run. Okay, running it right now. And here's how it looks. Let's just zoom in a little. So we have time steps set to daily, with a start time coming now and the end time being 5 days from now. Let's take a look at the values we have here. So we have a grass index of 1, tree index of 5, and the weed index of 0. And as we can see, as the days pass, the values do remain relatively constant. We have a grass index of 1 every day, with a tree index varying from 2 to 5, which means very high in some days, while the weed index remains at 0, meaning that there's no pollen coming from different types of weeds during these 5 days. And that would be it. You now know how to fetch pollen data and display it in Kotlin. Thank you very much for watching.